boys and girls, I have a story for you today called 17 Cowards. Bill came rushing into the house and flopped down in a chair breathless. He looked scared out of his wits. At that moment, Dad came into the room too. "Whatever's the matter, Bill?" he inquired anxiously. "Oh, nothing," said Bill. "Yes, there is," said Dad. "I can tell by the look on your face what has happened." "Oh, well, Dad," said Bill, wriggling uncomfortably in his chair. "You see, we were all playing ball there on the vacant land near old Mrs. Bolliger's. You know where it is, Dad, about half a kilometre down the street from here." "Yes, I know it well," said Dad. "I used to play on it myself when I was a boy." "Well, Dad, the ball," hesitated Bill. "I know what you're going to say," said Dad. "The ball went through Mrs. Bolliger's window." Yes, Dad, that's what happened. It was an accident, but how did you know?" "I just guessed," said Dad. "But say, Bill, why are you so scared?" "I'm not really scared, Dad," said Bill. "But you know, Mrs. Bolliger is such a mean old lady. She makes such a fuss about things like that." "Well, what do you do after you broke the window?" "We ran away." "You ran away?" "Yeah." "Well, how many boys were playing?" 17. "You mean to tell me that all 17 of you ran away, afraid of what some elderly lady might say to you?" "Yeah, Dad," said Bill, hanging his head a little. "Well," said Dad, "all I can say is that I think you are just 17 cowards, that's all." Bill didn't like that because he knew in his heart that the charge was true. For a moment he tried to defend himself. "But Dad, that old Mrs. Bolliger, she's so cranky," he said. "It doesn't matter how cranky she is," said Dad. "If you boys broke her window, you should have the courage to go and tell her you did it and offer to pay for the damage. Why, bless your heart, it wouldn't have cost more than a few cents apiece. By the way, who hit the ball that broke the window?" Bill hesitated. He began. "Now come on," said Dad. "There couldn't have been 17 balls, nor could 17 boys have smashed the window at once." "That's right, Dad." "Well then, who hit the ball that broke the window?" "I did," said Bill sadly. "I thought so," said Dad. "Only I wanted you to own up. And now, no matter what the others do, you must go at once to Mrs. Bolliger, tell her you're very sorry, and ask her how much the damage will be." "Oh, Dad, I couldn't," cried Bill, truly alarmed. "I simply couldn't. She's such a cranky old lady." "But you must," said Dad severely. "It's the right thing to do. And what's more, no boy of mine is going to be such a coward as to not apologise when he's done the wrong thing like this. So get yourself cleaned up and we'll go." "You mean you're going to come with me?" "Yes, I'm going to go with you as far as Mrs. Bolliger's front gate, and then you are going to go to the door and speak to her by yourself." "Oh, really?" Bill muttered to himself as he got off his chair and went to the bathroom to wash his hands and brush his hair. By and by he came downstairs again, where Dad was already waiting for him. Together they set out for Mrs. Bolliger's. It wasn't a very happy journey, at least not for Bill. He couldn't have been more scared if he had been on his way to an examination or to prison. "Do I really have to go?" he asked after a while. "I'm afraid you do," said Dad. "There's really no other way, and you will feel a great deal happier when you have done the right thing." Silence fell again. They walked on. Bill wished that the distance might have been 20 kilometres, so Dad would get tired and give up. At last they turned the corner and came to the vacant lot where the accident had taken place. Mrs. Bolliger's house was in full view, and so was the broken window. "Here we are," said Dad, as they reached the little white gate at the entrance to Mrs. Bolliger's property. "I'll wait here while you go to the house and speak to her. It is much better for you to do this little job alone. I shall be here if you need me." There was nothing else for Bill to do now but to go on alone. But as he went up the path, he felt sure that Mrs. Bolliger's eyes were watching him all the way. And all the time he kept thinking to himself, what will she say when I tell her I was the one that broke her window? Bill rang the bell. It sounded so loud and long. The door opened and there stood Mrs. Bolliger. To Bill's amazement, she had a smile on her face. He didn't expect that. How do you do? She said in a kindly tone of voice. What can I do for you? Stuttered Bill, blushing all over. I'm the boy who hit the ball that broke your window this afternoon, and I'm truly sorry. Bill hesitated and turned away a little, as though he was waiting for a bomb to explode, but it didn't. Instead, he heard a very sweet voice saying, I'm proud of you, son. I have had my windows broken many, many times before, but you are the very first boy who has ever come to tell me about it. You're a real gem. You surely must have been brought up well. You must have wonderful parents. Oh, said Bill, that's my dad over there. He happened to come along with me. At this time, Bill's dad came up the path and joined them. You have a fine boy here, said Mrs. Bolliger. In fact, I think he's the grandest boy I have ever met. You know, sir, no boy has ever come here before and spoken to me like this about breaking my windows. Well, Mrs. Bolliger, said Dad, Bill and I would like to pay you for putting the glass in again. Oh dear no, said Mrs. Bolliger. I wouldn't think of it. It's quite all right. I've mended so many before, and I wouldn't have this dear boy pay for one of my windows in any case. Bill beamed with joy and pride. They all talked together for a little while, and then Dad and Bill said goodbye and started for home. I suppose, said Dad, you weren't sorry you went to see her. I should say not, said Bill. Why, she was as nice as pie. I never would have dreamed that Mrs. Bolliger could be like that. I wonder why the boys say she's so mean. She isn't a bit mean. She couldn't have been kinder or more considerate. Boys say those things because they don't understand, said Dad. By the way, Bill, don't you feel better now since you've done the right thing, the brave thing? I sure do, said Bill. I could jump clear over the moon.